WhatsApp with the Labour Party. Remember this?
I'm absolutely determined to restore honesty and integrity to government.
I'm thinking that perhaps members of Keir's party, and in particular his front bench, don't actually understand the meaning of integrity. To lose one minister is bad enough, but to lose three in as many months and just after 7 is a very bad taste. Andrew Gwynne, Labour MP for Gordon and Denton and Health Minister, is the 3rd minister to leave Sir Keir's cabinet in disgrace. He made racist, sexist and offensive comments in a WhatsApp chat group. Possibly the worst comment, although there was serious competition for that spot, was a response to a letter from a 72-year-old woman who said that she had not voted Labour but wanted to inquire about bin collections. In the letter she wrote, "As you have been re-elected, I thought it would be an appropriate time to contact you with regard to the bin collections." Andrew shared the letter in the group chat and proposed this response: "Dear resident, F your bins. I'm re-elected and without your vote. Screw you. P.S. Hopefully you'll have croaked it by the all-outs, which are local elections to you and I." It was also reported that he wrote this about another constituent who rides a bike: "I have positive visions of him getting mown down by an Elsa Waste HGV whilst he's cycling to the Fallowfield Loop. We couldn't be that lucky." Perhaps he's taken lessons from Wes Streeting, who tweeted for Jan Noir to be run over by a train. Admittedly, Wes has since apologised, and it was before he became an MP. But seriously, what kind of people think it's a good idea to write this down, let alone think it? But Labour ministers are dropping like flies. First, it was Louise Hagan, ex-Transport Minister. After a spent conviction resurfaced, Louise claimed her mobile phone was stolen in a mugging whilst she was working for insurer Aviva. That was about 10 years ago. However, Louise found the phone and never alerted her employer. She pleaded guilty to fraud. Keir Starmer apparently knew everything, or so we were told. But her pious position was untenable. Louise had previously echoed Keir's sentiments that you can't be a lawmaker and a lawbreaker. She had to go. Then there was Tulip Siddiq, the anti-corruption minister. Sadly for Tulip, historic problems, including a property that she accepted from a developer who had links with her aunt. Her aunt happens to be an ex-dictator in Bangladesh. Tulip was being investigated by the authorities there for corruption. The irony? Well, of course, she had to resign before she was pushed. And now it's Andrew Gwynne. How can he possibly be allowed to continue as an MP in any capacity when he denigrates his own constituents? Andrew has been stripped of his ministerial role and suspended by the Labour Party pending an investigation. In a statement, Andrew said, "I deeply regret my badly misjudged comments and apologise for any offence I've caused. I've served the Labour Party all my life, and it was a huge honour to be appointed a minister by Sir Keir Starmer." Well, let's see if Sir Keir has enough integrity to report into the Parliamentary Standards Committee, which could potentially trigger a by-election, leaving the door open to the Tories or reform. Right, joining me now, my panel. Let's get reaction for the monologue or niggle. Joining me, broadcaster and journalist Danny Kelly, also political commentator Andy Williams. Andy, we'll start with you.
Yes.
Go on.
Go on. Look,
am I wrong?
No, I don't think you are. I mean, as I said, Andrew, well, with caveats, Andrew Gwynne, absolutely right to be sacked. Keir Starmer's dealt with this decisively, got rid of him immediately. I don't think we can say that this reflects on the Labour Party in a particular bad way. This is about...
Really?
No, I'll tell you why. Because this is one individual and his appalling comments that have been made in private, leaked, and he has deservedly been sacked. That's his political career over. Whether or not he remains as an MP, I think is an open question. But I would say if you're showing that level of contempt for your constituents, then your constituents should have a right to, you know, let's have a by-election. Maybe he wants to stand again, and let's see what the voters think. But what I would say is
they can have a recall if they don't feel it's dealt properly.
Correct, absolutely. Absolutely, and let's see if that happens. But you know, I would say that and it's not tit for tat, but look at the Tory government of the last 14 years. We had sexual misconduct. We had Bob Stewart losing the whip for a racially aggravated public order offence. We've had Nadine Dorries and Matt Hancock swanning off to Australia during working hours to go, I'm celebrity. So my point is, this is not a party political question, and I'm not defending Labour. I
don't think those things are on a par, and the reason why is because, in truth, he showed contempt for his constituents.
I agree with that.
And they're the people that voted. So had any of those done that, these are misconducts, and the Tory party have been punished for their behaviour. But let me finish. They've been punished for their behaviour, but if you show contempt for the constituents and the people that voted you in, then you're not fit to be an MP for any party. Danny Kelly.
Also, those scandals were over 14 years. These three things have happened in 6 months. I don't for one second believe that he wanted that elderly constituent to be mown down by a dumper truck. I don't believe... Nana, you and I disagree on this.
I think he did, yes.
I don't... Well, I
think the sentiment was that he wanted her out of the way, and that's not...
What, hit by a bus?
Out of the way in whatever form, and he came out with something like that. He's apologised, so we'll...
He's only apologised because he was being ratted on.
But the point is, he was... The sentiment he was saying that he wanted older constituents to die because they won't vote for him.
OK. Well, one thing that was really interesting was taking the mickey out of the Jewish community as well.
It's ridiculous.
Which is just reinforcing the perception that Labour have got a problem with Zionism in Israel.
The Labour left do have a problem. The hard left of the Labour Party, Jeremy Corbyn, who I did not support, who I was not a member of the Labour Party when Jeremy Corbyn was leader of the Labour Party, because he and his clan are consistently and have consistently said and done anti-Semitic things. Simple as that. And I'm afraid that Andrew Gwynne's comments there are, that strain is still there, I'm afraid.
I don't think Starmer... I feel that... look, I'm not a fan of Keir Starmer, but I don't think it's his fault. I don't think that
he picked these people.
Yes, but
he's picked these people.
But he didn't know about these comments, and that's the crux of it.
But when he knew about Louise Haigh, because she said that he knew about it, she was picked for the cabinet, which is completely... it's not a wise move. And Tulip Sadiq, who was a minister, she had links to her aunt, and obviously her aunt is...
But did he know about this?
Well, he would have known about the aunt, because the aunt was the head of a party in Bangladesh, and the aunt was a dictator who was the head of that party. She was the Prime Minister for 15 years, and he would have known that she was... the aunt was corrupt. So Tulip Sadiq had close links with the aunt.
I wonder whether Starmer handpicks these people, though. I think he picks the cabinet, and then surely the cabinet will pick people, the people below them. I don't think Starmer employs them all, does he?
Well, I think there's two things. First is that I do think Keir Starmer has been guilty of naivety. I think he's been very naive because he should have known that the Louise Haigh stuff would have come back to bite her and therefore him. So I think he's been naive, and I think it shows frankly his political inexperience. I think that's been a real problem. But the reality is, and this is not defending Labour or anyone else, the reality is if you have a 100-strong team of ministers, some of them are going to say and do stupid stuff.
No,
they always have in politics. They always will.
I'm sorry.
And this is not reflective of Keir Starmer's
This is reflective of Keir Starmer's Labour Party, and we've had Lord Mandelson apologising for calling Trump was it a white supremacist or a danger to the world?
Well, I think he's right.
And as far as a racist and as a racist or whatever.
I think he is.
But you may think that, but actually Mandelson has apologised to those things. And what evidence?
What evidence? He has to now.
So what evidence do you have that Donald Trump is those things? What evidence?
Well, just look at the track record of all the things he's said in public.
Well, like what?
Look, we're not debating Donald Trump.
Well, no,
here.
you've made a statement. You said you've just said that I think he is a racist and all those things. So
I think he has said racist things.
A danger to the world.
I think he's a massive danger to the world. I think he is a danger to the security of the world, to the world order. I think he's a danger to the world economy. Let's see how it goes with this tariff nonsense. Well, I think he's a massive danger.
The tariff nonsense, the border crossings across to Mexico, what percentage do you think they're down by?
Border crossings.
Yeah,
we were talking about
illegal.
Tariffs.
Yeah, so you said the tariffs are ridiculous. He put tariffs on Mexico of 25%, and unless, of course, they stop the fentanyl on the border crossings, what percentage do you think those crossings are down by?
I don't know.
90%.
Right.
90%. That's not a danger to the world. They were bringing fentanyl in, which was a danger to the American people and the world. He stopped that.
I don't believe
he stopped that. This is an example.
I don't believe that overall the world is in a safer place because Donald Trump is president.
Do you think it was safe under Joe Biden?
Well, I think Joe Biden was not equipped to be president for most of his presidency because of his age and because of his condition.
So the answer is no, it wasn't. So we've got somebody who's definitely better than Joe Biden.
What? I mean, it's a terrible choice.
Only time will tell whether he's a threat to the world. Let's see if he can do something with Russia and Ukraine.
Well, already the Middle East...
He said that would be solved in 24 hours, by the way.
Do you remember what he said about Israel? He said that if they haven't stopped fighting by the time he comes into office, they'll be held to pay. So they stopped fighting. So you may say he's a...
And do you know what? On the ceasefire, I agree with you. I don't think that would have happened without him. But, and this is where he is a danger, now he's saying, oh, we're going to turn Gaza into the American Riviera and clear out the... I mean, it's just absolutely appalling comment.
Well, it's interesting that, because the people of Gaza were complaining about Gaza being Gaza and that they wanted some other land. And now he said, well, we'll take that off you and you can go somewhere else. They don't want that either. I think, this is my view is this, that I think they will probably return, but it's a bomb site. There are tunnels all over the place. It is a bomb site, so something needs to be done and someone needs to step in to fix it.
Yeah, because he said that it's just been going on. Historically, it just continues the same cycle of violence, and the two-state solution isn't appearing anytime soon. And so he's come up with something novel, and I think it's incredibly incendiary to the Palestinian people to say, look, we're going to ship you out.
Absolutely.
And then we're going to rebuild your gaff. And then he said it's open to the world's people. OK, now listen, I like Trump. You and I will disagree about Donald Trump. But I think what he said was inflammatory, because the Palestinian people would think, OK, so I'm going to move. Where am I going to move to? Qatar. We're going to rebuild, and then am I allowed back in?
Maybe they'll appreciate Gaza. Maybe they'll see it as actually a solution and somewhere that they can call their home, because that's been the problem. But when we talk about this and people say there's historic problems, it's historic. Slavery is historic. There are so many things that we could go back on and say, oh, because of this and because of that, because of this, because of that. To me, it's time for them to stop this blaming the past and start looking at the present and the future.
That's an idealistic way to look at it.
It's not idealistic.
It is, because it's the perfect situation.
No, but that's what I do. So I don't go, oh, the slave trade. I don't think my family are ever slaves. If anything, they're probably slave owners. But I don't go, oh, because of this and because of that years ago. Now, I'm not saying that people shouldn't do that if they want to, but I'm saying that there's no benefit to it. So it's time to
You're
try.
right, there is no benefit to it.
And I don't think it's idealistic. I think it's a realistic thing if they tried it.
It can't be that simple, because they would have tried it.
Well, I don't think some people have. In fact, the Israelis were saying that the people in Gaza were educated to kill Jewish people, and they were. They were puzzles and they were indoctrinated. So that indoctrination needs to stop. Yeah. Otherwise, we'll never get anywhere.
But Trump should have said, we'll ship you out, we'll rebuild it, and then you can come back in. What he said was it's a city for the world.
He left it open.
Yeah,
that's what he said.
Which is not only inflammatory, but also shows a fundamental misunderstanding of the root of the conflict in the first place, which is that they believe it's their land and they want to stay there.
Yeah.
Well, before that, they weren't happy with that land and they wanted some other land. So what will make someone happy? Ultimately, rebuild it. And if you're saying it's open to the world, then let's see if the people from Gaza can return. If he's paying to have it all done up...
That's what he should have said. We'll ship you out, then we'll bring you back.
But anyway, the fact that he's created a conversation about the land and made an appreciation of the land for the people who are on it...
It's never going to stop.
Well, listen, we could talk about this forever. Let's stay with us. tvnews.com/your say up to your thoughts. But Nigel Farage is on the stage now and he is about to speak. He is at the Reform Conference in Wiltshire. We are bringing his speech to you live, and then make sure you stay with me, because just after 5 o'clock I will be bringing you that documentary that I had, that conversation, that interview with Hannah Ingram Moore. Now, what do you think Nigel's going to say about a pact with Boris Johnson?
Well, Boris Johnson, love him or loathe him, Boris Johnson is still very popular. I've driven 96 miles to get here, Andy, and I'll be driving 96 miles back. This is a common thing.
It's been a long time. An hour and 20 minutes before he says it. It's usually a lot earlier.
And there are great swathes of the Midlands who still think very fondly of Boris Johnson. Now, is he still a political heavyweight? I'm unsure, but there are so many people who still say, bring back Boris. I really miss Boris Johnson. And because politics, a lot of people want personality to be superseded by substance with politics, but a lot of people like personality, and Boris Johnson's got a massive personality.
There's no doubt about that. And actually, if you look at Boris Johnson's successors, I can understand why people, with the exception of Keir Starmer, I think is going to be a far better Prime Minister than Boris Johnson. The problem with Boris Johnson is that he did not deliver on his fundamental, on his core promises, levelling up, which was the absolute kind of, the silver thread through his government, didn't deliver.
Well, he had a lot of things to contend with, like COVID and sorting out Brexit, so I'm not really going to blame him heavily for not being able to deliver. And then, of course, the political arena was consumed with Partygate and wouldn't leave him be to get on with it.